Hi, and welcome to Scream with Me. My name is Rusty. This is my horror movie channel where I get to run my mouth about my favorite horror movies and why I love them, and you get to watch me fight my hair in this Florida humidity, which is pretty fun. And I'm kind of excited a little bit tonight because I have recently gotten a new obsession, which I'm trying to polish off right now. I want to talk about 2006. A movie came out called The Covenant. Isn't that beautiful? I'm so glad I got the lenticular case. I hate when I get movies and they don't have the slipcase with them. But, yes. The Covenant. That whole movie is that color, which I'm going to talk about. So, this movie, The Covenant, was released in 2006, directed by Renny Harlin. It stars Stephen Strait, Sebastian Stan, and Toby Hemingway. And they're all gorgeous. Okay, just a little side note there. But I absolutely loved this movie, and I didn't think I would, because if you've known me for very long, you know that I have issues with PG-13 in horror. I don't really like it. I mean, granted, not every horror movie has to be full of TNA or cussing or super gory or anything like that, but having an R rating gives you more room to do more things in horror. And they try to take it like really too far. And this movie is actually a really good example of a PG-13 movie, and we'll get into that as well. It's actually shocking, you know. I don't remember if there was a lot of cussing in this movie. I don't really remember any cussing, so it didn't stand out. If it was, it didn't stand out, which is okay. Interestingly enough, there is TNA in this movie. I guess the straight guys and uh, lesbians get a nice butt shot, which is like really funny the way they did it. And gay guys and heterosexual women, you get a really nice giggle scene of getting to see, boy butt. So you got a shot of girl butt, you got a shot of boy butt, fine, balanced, equal, and it's PG-13. That's cool, that they were able to do that. So why did I fall in love with this movie? Okay, The Lost Boys. Now a lot of people call this the boy version of The Craft, which I agree with. You know, um, it is a boy version of The Craft. There, the story is about you're at like I want to say high school. Might be first year college. I don't know. Might be high school, but it's a real fancy gothic private school. So I'm not really sure if the same, if the same grade structure is there, because it's a old gothic private school. But in any event, they're all turning 18. So it's if it is high school, it's right at the very end of high school. So you have this society. It's all rich kids, but they're called the Sons of Ipswich, which is they are descendants of the witches from the Salem witch trial. That's what they are descendants of. Now they're actually really witches. When they turn 13, the oldest male child in that family bloodline coming down from the Salem witch trials, when they turn 13, they get a taste of their power. So they spend 5 years, I guess, sort of learning that they have this power, how to use it, how to control it, and all that kind of stuff. And when they turn 18, they go through a process called the ascension, which they get the full thing of their power. Now, unlike in the craft, in this movie, there's a downside to the power. Using it in any kind of significant way. I mean, you can use it to shut the refrigerator or start your car or something like that, something small, and it doesn't really tap you. But using your power in any sort of significant way actually drains a tiny bit of your life force. So the more you use it, the more you will, lose your life force. So you can be like 30 years old, and it's addictive. The feeling that it gives you is addictive. Well, of course it would be. I mean, you have to think about if you had this kind of power, how difficult would it be for you to control it? I mean, I would definitely have to give myself a few $1,000,000, but how would I do that? So I guess it's according to how you plan it out, what you do. That's just a side note, I guess. It's part of the immersion of a movie. Is what would you do in that position? So you have the main one who's very nice. He's not a bad guy. None of them are really. One of them's a little asshole, but he's still not like evil or anything. None of them are. Unlike in the craft, where Miss Punky kind of goes a little crazy. There is one like her that's a little asshole, but even he doesn't take it to any kind of extreme uh, place. And when he does get a little smart ass, the other guys put him in line and kind of like shake him to reality, which is, dude, you do know this is addictive. You do know that you will look like you're 80 years old when you're 30. You know all of this. So it's sort of like it's family knowledge between the families of Ipswich. So here we go. This is the story. The story is one of them, all of them actually, are turning 18. And the first one that's going to turn 18 is this one right here in the front, the star. And he is going to be the first one to turn. They're all going to turn in the next couple months. They're all going to turn 18. He's going to be the first. Now, a new girl and a new guy show up to the school midterm. And sort of like, comes into their circle. And the girl has a crush on him and vice versa, the lead star. Thank God, though, they keep kind of like the craft. They don't really go down any super romantic roles. It's there, but it's very understated, and they don't waste a lot of time on the romance aspect, which I appreciate very much, because if I wanted to see a romantic movie, that's what I would watch. I really am not a big fan of in-depth or romance being a big part of a horror movie, or a sci-fi movie even. I'm there to see that, not kissy kissy shit. But in any event, they do keep it down pretty well. It's not really a big part of the movie, which they concentrate on the exciting parts of the movie. So this new boy, he becomes friends with them and kind of gets into their pack, but the leader, he kind of doesn't feel too good about him. He doesn't feel like too good about him, but it's not like a big hatred thing or anything. That doesn't last long though, because you discover pretty quickly that new guy is actually a son of Ipswich whose parents were killed, and he had been adopted out, so he didn't know. He had been adopted out, so he didn't know. And when he turned 13, he didn't have anyone to help him. He didn't have anyone, a parent or any of the families, to help him understand what it was. So here he is, he's already turned 18 and he's already ascended. And he starts haunting their dreams and, you know, doing stuff to them. And the plot then, I'm trying to, like, you know, not to give every single thing away, but the plot as it goes on, you start realizing, and the guy, the leader, realizes that this is what's going on. This guy is a son, and they go through the records and find out that he is a descendant. So he's one of them. He's the oldest, and he's already ascended. And unfortunately for them, he's come to kill them. The reason that he's come to kill them is that because he didn't have anyone to tell him what he was, a witch, because he didn't have anyone to tell him this, he had been 5 years addicted, which means he was like hardcore addicted. When he found out what he was, and when he found out the consequences of his addiction, which meant he probably had another 10 years and he was going to look like, you know, he was going to look like a 95-year-old man by the time he was 26, you know? So, you know, or 28. So, what he thinks he can do, and they don't say you can't, so obviously this is possible, is you can make a child of Ipswich give you their power. The more power you have in reserve, the more life force you have. So what he has basically come to do is he's come to drain them all dry as they ascend, because you have to ascend. So this all comes out, and he approaches the guy, our star, and he tells him, that's why I'm here. You're going to will your ascension to me, and I'm not going to kill your friends and your family and your girlfriend. And they were barely girlfriend. That's what I said. They kept that so low key. I loved it. Again, like the Lost Boys, you know, there was not really, you know, the romance between Star and that guy in the Lost Boys was very, you know, on the surface, but not really delved into. So that was pretty good. That's one of the reasons I love The Lost Boys so much, is it's one of those movies where they didn't spend so much time on that aspect. So they're going to have a big fight, you know, because the guy's like, look, I'm going to kill them all. He almost kills one of the other sons of Ipswich to prove his point. He poisons one of those guys' girlfriends, and he poisons this new girl with a deadly toxin, that magic toxin, not like real, but magic. And you're going to give me your power, or I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill them. So there's the threat. There's the battle. And so the night that he ascends, they have this big giant witch fight between the two of them. Now, you were introduced in the movie, you thought that this guy's dad was dead, the star. You thought he was dead. They made it kind of appear like something happened to him, so you assumed he was dead, the star's dad. No. He had become addicted, used all his powers, and he stayed in this little castle at the end of town, and he looked like the old version of Dracula in Bram Stoker's Dracula. He looked like that. He looked like he was like 97 years old, and actually he was being kept alive by machines and medicine, when actually his body was completely worn out, and he was still alive even though he was like 40 years old. So you discovered that. The son goes and sees him, you know, on occasion. So then you have the big fight at the end. And the mom of our star goes to the dad and was like, look, you know your life is over. this is the one last thing you can do for your son, because this guy has come to kill them all. So if you will your power to him, he might have enough, you know, to defeat this guy. Because even though that boy was extremely strong and had already ascended, he still was only one. You know, he had already devoured the power. So it was unequal because he had devoured. I messed up there, but he was unequal because this boy was fixing to ascend. He had already ascended, our villain, and he had also, after he had killed his adopted parents, he came and found his real father, the one with the witch blood, and had killed him and absorbed his power, made him will his power to him. So he actually had more power than this boy, our star. So to even it out, the mother begged the father to will his power to our star so he could like fight him on equal footing. And he did. Because the truth is, if your power is based in light, it's always going to defeat a power based in darkness. And this boy was like evil as shit. So you had the big fight, and you know what happens happens. You'll have to watch it and see. Now, why do I love this movie so much? First of all, like I said, for a PG-13 movie, it didn't gross me out. It did not have a bunch of unbalanced TNA. I enjoyed, what they did to the girl that caused the female butt shot. What they did was hilarious because, they were joking at a table. She was over there at the bar, and they said something along the lines of, could you like see, I wonder what kind of panties she's wearing or something like that. And the other one was like, I bet she's not wearing any. She hasn't worn any since, the 6th grade or something like that. They made a joke, and one of them used their power in the middle of this crowded bar to blow her skirt up. That was funny because she screamed and turned around and there's nobody there, but she just like, got flashed, and she just mooned the entire bar, that was really funny. And as far as the guys go, all there was a locker room scene, which was funny. So, it was equal. So I got no problem with that. It was cute. It was equal. It was very nice, So that surprised me in a PG-13, because I've seen rated R movies where they don't show anything, and you're like, okay, whatever. So that was really good. Now, the reason that I love this is, even though a lot of people refer to this as the boy version of The Craft, to me, I have not had a movie make me feel the way The Lost Boys did. This movie is like The Lost Boys to me. It's not vampires, it's witches. But I think one of the main things is I have not seen a movie with as beautiful a cinematography color palette as this one since The Lost Boys. The Craft was a very daytime movie. If you think back to The Craft, a great many of the scenes are in the daytime. It's lots of whites and browns and light colors. This case is the perfect example of what this movie is like. The majority of this movie takes place at night. The majority of the scenes that they show, everything is gothic, everything is deep blacks, silvers, and midnight blues. Those are my favorite colors. It really is like the color of this case. It's just this beautiful blues and blacks and dark gothic atmosphere. It just reminded me a great deal of the cinematography in The Lost Boys. they stayed in the dark because they were vampires. I don't guess they had to have kept this movie. I mean, The Craft didn't. They were like walking around witches. But it's weird that like even classes and stuff they didn't really show outside. It was inside. And almost any exterior shots were at dusk and twilight and midnight. So a great deal of this movie took place at night and in the dark. And from beginning to end, this movie is a very dark color palette. And I was really blown away by that. This movie sucked me in. I loved looking at the characters. The acting was great. Um, the I was attracted to this group like I was attracted to the boys in the Lost Boys. Um, the little gang of vampires was just an attractive group, and this is a little gang of witches, and it's a very attractive, easy on the eyes, no doubt about it. And they all have charisma and magnetism, and I mean, there wasn't any nudity in the Lost Boys, was there? I know that they ripped the roof off that car when that couple were making out, but did they show anything? I don't remember if they did or not. But it was rated R. But I think it had a little bit more gore in it than this, because this is magic. This is witches, not vampires. But the special effects were wonderful. The apparition that it's sort of like a wraith. The evil guy. He had killed a guy at the party at the beginning of the movie, and he was using his soul as a wraith. He was making them appear and scare and frighten this group, our good group. So there was a lot of really good special effects in it. It's just an overall movie, but like I said, I think the biggest thing about this movie is the atmosphere. Um, it's easy to find. I would like I would do anything if they had made like an unrated director's cut of this and put a little bit more scary stuff in it. Um, but even though there wasn't, even if they didn't, it's still on its own, just like it is. I absolutely love this movie. I got it in a couple weeks ago, and I've already seen it like 4 or 5 times. And sort of just like I did with the Lost Boys, I wanted to see it over and over because I love the atmosphere of this movie. I love the colors. As you can see, black, silver is my two favorite colors. Black and white, black and silver, black and midnight blues, black and red, dark reds, black and anything really is a dual color. But black is my favorite color, and silver and this shade of blue is all in this movie. And I think it's really neat they made the slipcover the same shade as most of the lighting in the movie. And yeah, so if you haven't seen The Covenant, you should grab it. I absolutely was so shocked. I mean, what is it, 14, 15 years old? Kind of freaked me out. I mean, as a collector, there's just stuff you didn't hear about, stuff that goes over your head. There are so many movies released every year. Who knows what I was doing at that time that made me either pshaw this. Could have been the PG-13. But whatever it was, I only heard about it. I only took the time to buy it recently. And boom, there it was. It's like, oh my God, I'm sure you've experienced that too, where you heard of a movie and you never got around to watching it, and then when you finally do, you're like, holy shit, that is good, and I'm so glad I got it. And this is this. The Covenant, 2006. It's like the atmosphere of the Lost Boys, but the storyline kind of The Craft. But I really think it has a lot less to do with The Craft. It's the same scenario, a group of witches, but in this case, they're all witches. So real witches, not just feeding off the power of a real witch. So it's in the same vein as the Craft, but this is really a movie of its own, and it doesn't really have that much to do story wise. I think The Craft is a very light movie, color palette wise, and this is a very dark color palette wise, and also in theme. You know, there was a lot more humor in The Craft than there is in this. This is a lot more serious. Aside from the upskirt thing, I don't really remember a lot of comedy in this movie at all. This is a very dark movie, but I love the lure around it, uh, the story building. I would love to know so much more about the Sons of Ipswich, and I think they could have made so many. They could have made like a lot more movies based around this kind of stuff, and it's a shame. I don't know if it had a problem. It's got a 5 point something on uh, International Movie Database, 5.3. Um, I rated it an 8 out of 10. Um, because they don't have halvesies. Otherwise, I'd give it like a 8 and a 8. I'll actually give it like a 8.9. You know, but yeah. So The Covenant, 2009. If you haven't seen it, you really, really should. If you like The Craft, if you like The Lost Boys, if I think you'll really enjoy this movie. It's very entertaining, cool special effects. Um, I guess it does serve as a boy version of The Craft. If you want to see male witches, you would love this movie. So that will do it for that movie, and I will hopefully be back shortly with another one, and we will talk about that. Thank you all for taking the time to sit and listen to me ramble on about The Covenant, and I know what I'm going to do next, but I'm not going to say it. But I will see you again next time. Love you very much. All my little creepos, keep being horror movie fans, and I will see you in a little bit.